I'm Connie Stowers, the RealEskater.
And I'm Melissa Harrison, the Fierce Feminine.
And this is Reclaim.
No one is coming to save you.
Hi, Melissa.
Hey, Connie.
Are you excited?
I'm so fucking excited.
I was born for this.
So ready.
So our first episode, this is so exciting.
Our inaugural episode.
Literally could cry. Already did several times this morning. Share your background and kind of introduce to our audience who you are.
Yeah, so I am a coach, a life coach for women business owners, entrepreneurs. I help them focus on using anxiety as their superpower, which is not typically how we tend to look at it. It's usually seen as a detriment or like something that's definitely going to stop you. And in my experience, if you look at it as a superpower, there's no limit.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Anxiety is our superpower.
It is. Like, put on your cape and go, girl. Like, it's...
Fly away. I am powered by anxiety. Red Bull gives you wings, but anxiety gives you the propel you need to go far. And for those who don't know me already, my name is Connie Stowers. I'm a realtor. I'm a mom. I had a big life transformation. I probably could have used a life coach. So we're a little bit late to the game here, but I life coached myself through it. But a couple years ago, after COVID, I made a decision to really change my life. I lost 90 pounds, which I'd gained about 100 pounds during COVID.
Yeah.
Pregnancy, postpartum, medication, all sorts of things. I mean, I basically had a pharmacy in my pocketbook at all times growing up. I've heavily relied on medication to get me through my anxiety and my depression and all my mental health stuff.
Yeah.
And in the past 3 years, I've changed careers. I got divorced. I have a 3-year-old daughter who I co-parent with, my ex with, and lost 90 pounds, started my own business. It's been a little bit. Done a few things.
Just a few.
Just a few things. Which, and one of the things that we had said we were going to talk about today, and I think the way that you get to this point of the anxiety and getting through, these hardships in life, one of the first things is really zero BS, right?
Oh, you have to have zero tolerance for bullshit in your life, for sure. For sure. And that's how, one of the reasons I'm so good at what I do with women and anxiety is because I had my own battle with it. I've gone through same thing. I've tried every anxiety med known.
Yeah.
And none of them worked. And so I had to find a new way out. And I'm also a mom. My kids are older than your little one.
Yeah, you look like you're 22 though. It's just not
so
fair. It's not fair.
That they're 24, 19, and 14. And
she has a 24-year-old. Okay, go on.
You're sweet. They keep me young, and this is all fake color because all the grays with raising those fucking kids. God bless. They're my heart.
God bless
my heart. But for the majority of raising them, I was a single parent. Their dads, I've been married a couple times. Their dads are very involved, but it was still me with them for the most part. And building a business and raising kids,
Yeah. And I think, it's so tough. I think this has come up a couple times I've seen on, in the social media world. And it's almost like I don't even know what to call myself, right? Because there's single moms who do it by themselves, no support, nobody else to rely on.
Right.
And, I am not in that scenario. I do have a 50-50 co-parent. And a lot of people have asked me, is the dad involved? Yes, he's very involved. Our marriage did not work out for lots of reasons. But from a parental standpoint, I do have a co-parent. And, I think that in that realm of where are we in that, what do you call yourself, right? So I don't even know what to call myself anymore. As in my scenario, I do have a co-parent who helps me out because we both take on that responsibility 50-50.
Yeah.
And, I've shared with people before, it's a blessing and a curse, right? The blessing is I have discovered who I am through this process, because those nights that I don't have my daughter, I'm hip hop and heels. I'm dodgeballing. That's, if you see my black eye, it's from dodgeball last week. I'm roller skating. I'm working. And so I can pour from a very full cup when I do have her.
For sure.
Now, the downside of that, though, is there is 50% of my child's life that I do not get to kiss her goodnight and tuck her in and, be there present for her. And that is a really hard thing. It's like this mom guilt of I get to live my best life because I have my kid 50% of the time.
You can't win. You can't
You
fucking
can't.
win. And I think I'm glad you brought that up because I think it's important. One of the reasons why I made it clear to say that the dads were involved is because I think it's important to honor all moms, right?
Yep.
Like you said, there are the single moms who have absolutely no help. And then there's women like us who I had my kids 95% of the time until like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And then it went to 50-50. And I went through the same guilt. It was like, I was such a better Melissa when I had 50% of my time
Yeah.
back. And I don't think there's any place. This is where I had to draw that zero tolerance for bullshit line. I had to go, you know what? If I'm a better Melissa, that means I'm better in every area of my life,
Right.
including being a mom.
And I think for the moms out there, like I've thought about what happens if I get myself in a relationship and I have another child someday and I do have that kid fit 100% of the time. The guilt that I'd feel for not being able to give that to my daughter, and what would my life look like then? Because this is really the only life I know. I separated from my partner when my daughter was 1 year old. So this is all she knows. This is all I know.
Yeah.
And I made that decision. I think I've gotten some pushback before of like, could you have given your marriage longer? And I think when you just know.
Yeah.
Could I have? Yes. Would it have made a difference? I don't think so. I just think it would have made my daughter's life more challenging to have grown up longer in a household of two parents and then had to adjust to that one, each of us at different times. But I think it brings up, as women and those moms that are at home 24/7 with their kids and have all that responsibility,
Yeah.
I encourage you in any way, shape, or form that you can. And I'm talking to you, like I'm talking to you. If you can find a way to maintain that sense of self or find that sense of self, reclaim that sense of self.
Because it's there.
It's there. And like we're told this story. Hey, here's the boxes to check, right? Like, what are we going to do, Melissa? We're going to go to school. We're going to come out. We're going to get a job. We're going to meet a nice man. We're going to get married. We're going to have babies. And then nobody told Cinderella what the fuck to do after that.
Yeah.
What does she do?
Well, she kicks off the fucking shoe.
She did. She kicked it off and she's
like, no.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, so Cinderella kicks off her shoes.
Yeah.
And then looks around at her beautiful castle and her beautiful kids and her beautiful prince and realizes that she did all of the things on the box. She checked every box that they told her to check.
Yes.
And now she's 32, looking around at everything she's got and saying, why don't I feel ecstatic?
That's exactly what I felt in my second marriage. Both of my husbands were very good husbands, good providers, and I still wasn't happy. I had luxuries that I know many women don't, and then I still wasn't happy. And I know that sounds so bitchy, and I'm always fully acknowledging the benefits that I had. I was able to stay home, pursue things that were important to me. Even having that support, I had to kick off the slippers, the shoes. I had to reclaim what was mine because that was not what fit for me.
Yep.
And I think that's a very important conversation, that just because you are living what society tells you you should be so fucking thankful for doesn't mean it's right in your heart.
Amen.
And when I had the kids 95% of the time, I mean, it was 3 of them. I was rebuilding after the second divorce. We were in a tiny little 2-bedroom apartment. And that's when I started the business. That's when I got the master's in psych and I started the business. And I had to find that time to carve out for myself. So, I went from having all those luxuries and being like, I need to do it my way and on my own. And it's possible. It's not easy, but it's possible.
And what do you think what got you through those times when you had, probably all the weight of the world on your shoulders and you're looking to start this business and you've got 3 kids and you're in a tiny apartment? Like what did that conversation with yourself sound like?
I could tell you the cutesy, very sweet, reason that everyone wants to hear. But honestly, it was that I didn't want my ex-husband to see me fail.
Got it. And how, you know, I listen,
I mean, there's more to like
yeah,
that was the initial. I was like, oh, I cannot because I knew I would never let my kids down. Like that's not a thing, right?
yeah.
And I knew I wouldn't let myself down because I've always been able to count on myself. So the thing that really would spread, like when I'd have a day when I was like, I'm not writing that blog post, I'm not like doing this video, whatever, I'd be like, you know, he's watching. Like you can't.
Oh, how the
So that
tables have turned. No, it's true. You know, listen, everybody loves a comeback story, right? Like
Mhm.
everybody loves a good comeback story.
Yeah.
And the motivation for your comeback is usually external. I mean,
At first it is,
it
for
is.
sure. But then like once I saw the impact that I was able to help women make in their lives, it switched fast. But like the initial impetus was definitely
Yeah. Well, and I think like it's one of those things a lot of us suffer from not loving ourselves enough, right? Like, let's be
mm.
clear. Like, most of us are in some kind of therapy because we haven't figured out how to.
And if we're not, we should be.
You should be, let me tell you. And we could talk about a little bit of the different kinds of therapy because I do EMDR now, and
Good stuff.
EMDR and psychotherapy brought me after 15 years of talk therapy, of just talking and talking and talking. I was still constantly having anxiety and panic attacks over the same things,
Because you
same
separated,
triggers.
you weren't like in the body. You
Was
have
not
to
in my
like
body.
in the body for sure. Yeah.
Great book to recommend. It's so funny. I don't even think I've read it, but I've heard so many clips from it. But The Body
The body
Keeps the
keeps the
Score.
score.
Yep, that's a good one.
Yes.
So I think that we suffer from this epidemic of not loving ourselves enough to do it for ourselves. But then you add in the
Mhm.
external factor of like your kid or your kids. You add in, I don't want my ex-husband to see me fail. You
Mhm.
add in, you know, that business partner who screwed you over and told you you'd never make it.
Yeah.
You know, like all of these things that like put the gas in the tank for you.
Yeah.
As you heal, those things become less important and
Oh
you
yeah. You don't
begin to
even
do it for
think
you.
about it.
You
That's
don't.
right. That's absolutely
You
right.
begin to do it for you, but there's a shift there. It takes a while to
And
get to
it's
that shift.
palpable. I remember when it started to shift, and it really was, you know, yes, you start to do it for you, but I think then you also start to do it for others
Yeah.
because the shift, it was very quick for me from like, oh shit, he's watching to, hey, this feels good to me to, oh, look at these women who are coming to me and like crying because their life is so different.
Yeah.
And that wasn't me. That was me letting the gift flow through me and help them.
Yeah.
But if it took a little bit of, oh shit, he's gonna watch you fail, so you better not
Yeah.
fail. If it took a little bit of that, all right,
It took a little
all
go
right.
fuck yourself. I'm gonna make this happen.
Hey,
It's my masshole coming out. Go fuck yourself. All right? I'm gonna make it. I told you we're all gonna see a different side of me. Um, yeah, and I think that, you know, like my big shift came with sobriety, you know.
hmm
And for me, sobriety is being alcohol free. It's the actual definition of sober, is not drunk. So my sobriety, you know, I really started to think about how alcohol had played a role in my life for so long. Because right now I'm off all medication. I'm off birth control. I'm off antidepressants. I'm off anti anxieties.
damn, you were flying high, girl.
Oh my God. Tell you, well, you know, I think we live in a culture where it's like, got a problem, here's a pill. Like, remember, I always say it,
Suppress it however you can.
and I grew up in an environment and created an environment around myself. Remember those little penny things at the store? Need a penny, take a penny, have
Yeah.
a penny, give a penny.
Yeah.
That's how I was with pills. Like, what do you need? Oh, what you? Oh, you having a problem? Oh, it is Annie. You know, take it easy. It's fine. You know, and I want to be clear with like I was no angel. I had my demons, and I didn't know how to face them. And I tried talk therapy for a long time, and I thought it was helping, but it wasn't. I wasn't healed. I was just going through the motions, and I had a pill for everything. I had an upper, I had a downer. Needed to
Yeah.
wake up, I got something for that. Need to go to sleep, I got something for that. And so this is the first time in my life since I was like 16 that I've figured out this is me hormonally, mentally, emotionally. Like, this is who I am. And like discovering this person has been a really magical journey.
It's so awesome
It
when you like
is.
reclaim your fucking power. You're like, oh, you've always been there. I'm sorry, I missed you.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, girl.
welcome back.
Welcome back, you know? And I used to have this bright light around me. I remember when I was younger, I always did have this way about me that was very magnetic and would bring people around me. And then I lost it for like a good decade and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, in college, you do superlatives.
Yeah.
I was voted most likely to be seen at the Clatta in 10 years, which is like the diviest of dive bars. Okay. Like that's what my peers thought of me was Connie. They used to call me the Con. The Con used to come out to play. And she was a party girl. She was a party, she wasn't even a party girl. She was a party fucking animal. Okay. Anything would go. And that became my legacy. And I think like I thought that was supposed to be my legacy. So I played into it for years. And it was probably about a year ago where my therapist asked me, they used to call a job I used to have. I used to sell mattresses around like the country and I was short on some cash. They used to call me Showtime. Showtime's here. Showtime's here. And my therapist asked me one time, she said, is Showtime Connie or is Showtime a mask that Connie wears?
Yeah.
What? I was like,
Right.
what do you mean? I was like, no, that's me. And she was like, okay, if you say it is, it is. And I had to really think about it. Like, is this just the role I've played for so long that I don't know how to be anything else other than like, hey, I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, it's
And that must have been, I would imagine, one of your like zero tolerance for bullshit moments. Like, maybe that part of you is the real you, but like delineating and not dishonoring who you really are just to have that part come out.
yeah. And it's funny because ever since she said that and I really started to think about it, I started to notice at what moments Showtime Connie wanted to come out. And it was sometimes in moments where I felt the most insecure. Like,
Yeah.
let me be the loudest in the room. Let me be the party girl. Let me be the most fun. Let me be the most engaging. And I can feel good about myself. But like the part that I've kind of started to dig into is maybe I am a calmer, maybe I can be a place where people can come to that's more calming and more gentle and more loving. Maybe it doesn't have to be met with this huge boisterous personality all the time.
Yeah.
Because I think that is a big part of who I am and what I bring to the table. And like, I mean, I could be like a puppy dog. Like you get me in an exciting scenario. I am like, oh, there's people around. Oh, I gotta live it. Like I love to be around people and be, and I feed off that energy.
Yeah.
But when you feed off energy, you have to be careful because you can get sucked into negative energy real quick.
So fast. And I was thinking that, for as much as you can turn it on, what did they call you? Showtime.
Showtime.
For as much as like Showtime is,
Mm.
went big and boisterous and like, probably took over the energy of the whole space, you can equally, like I found whatever amount of energy we feel like pulls us into the negative, we can go that much into the positive. So like anytime we've spiraled or created situations that seem like, oh my fucking God, I hit rock bottom. The good news is you double it and like
Yeah.
you're soaring, which you're experiencing.
Yeah. A year ago was my rock bottom. And it's funny because I think people would think that people ask me all the time, like, were you an alcoholic? And like, yeah, listen, if you want to call me an alcoholic, I think there's validity to it. I binge drank. I never drank in high school. I drank for the first time maybe when I was like 16. I think I took 2 shots of Captain Morgan's on the way to the beach. And I remember running around the beach being like, oh my God, I'm so drunk. I was probably not drunk at all. But if you watch all of the movies and the shows that we were fed as children of the 80s and the 90s,
Yeah.
it glorified drinking and partying. And that was your right? Like you're going to go to college and you're going to break loose. And I had a really tough family dynamic in high school that I really wanted to escape my life. And so when I got to college and had all of this freedom, I became a binge drinker. I would walk around with a bottle of Smirnoff in one hand and a Gatorade in the other. I had a very controlling boyfriend at the time who wanted me back in my dorm room by midnight so that he knew that I was back. And here I am like, okay, sir. Yes, sir. I'll do that for you. Right. Because
Yeah.
I was in love.
Yeah.
That's what love was.
Yep.
And so
We were fed that too.
absolutely.
For
Yeah.
sure.
You honor your partner, you
Yeah.
know? And so I would drink a bottle of vodka before midnight, like one of those, I don't know what it's 750 mil, whatever it was. I would drink a bottle of Smirnoff before midnight, power it down with a Gatorade, black out by like 11:30, get back to my room and, do that 3 or 4 times a week. So there was some alcoholism there that was formed because I never learned how to drink without binge drinking. And I never learned how to drink in a way that like was for enjoyment versus no, I want to get fucked up.
Right.
Like, where's my buzz? I want my buzz. And that became the name of the game for everything. Like, I ain't doing it unless it gives me a buzz.
Yeah. And I don't want to minimize the alcohol part of this because I think sobriety is such a beautiful thing when we choose that for
Yep.
absolutely. I also think that some of us just have those all or fucking nothing personalities
Yeah.
and we're going to apply it
100.
to every part of our lives.
Yeah. And you got to channel it to the good.
That's right. You got to be so mindful. And like, I'm the same fucking way.
Yeah.
And my dad used to say to me, Melissa, find the gray. You have to, I'm like, gray isn't even what are you talking about? It doesn't even
color.
exist.
It's not in the rainbow. It's not a Roy G. Biv. Well, you would have thought that like rock bottom would have come somewhere in that process, but my rock bottom was a year ago, a year into sobriety. Okay, I hadn't drank for a year, but I had replaced all of the bad habits that I had formed from drinking. Like I had just replaced by like dating super toxic men, like being on dating apps, like swipe, 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 as many dates as I could get on.
Yeah.
Like who could, like trying to keep my mind away from the work, right? Like keeping my mind away from, well, you're not drinking anymore. So like kudos
All
to
the
you.
distractions. All the distractions. For sure.
And yeah, so my rock bottom came when I finally met the wrong man, like the absolute wrong man. Like I was Tinder swindlered but it was on Hinge. So my Netflix episode will be called Unhinged. So just wait for it. Okay. Coming for you someday.
I can't wait to see this shit. Oh my gosh.
But no, I met a guy who, when we first met, he was a 39-year-old surgical technician from Newport. And 4 weeks into it, of course, I was absolutely in love. We were getting married. The world was great. Like,
Well, yeah.
obviously.
There's no gray.
There's no gray. It's been 72 hours. I'm in love with you. You're in
Already
love with
picking out the
me.
dress. Like we're going.
We had baby names. Like there were baby names. We were starting a business. And
Oh my God.
4 weeks later, and things unraveled as it went. And of course, every time a new fact came up, I was just like, oh, well, like that's okay. He would wave the red flag in the air and I'd be like, I think it can get brighter. It's a little bit of a dull red.
Yeah,
It could be
it's
brighter.
pink. It's pink.
Fast forward 4 weeks later, he shows up on Are We Dating the Same Guy on Facebook.
Oh,
He's
shit.
a 49-year-old unemployed con artist with like 4 other women in his life. I shit you not. It was just, it was like as if the rug had been ripped underneath me. And in this weird fucking way though, I was like, when I really sat down and thought about it after I had this absolute breakdown of like, you just let this stranger into your life and allowed him to completely take over everything you've worked for, you let go in a second because some guy made you feel pretty and loved for 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
And I realized how much I was willing to sacrifice for a dopamine rush of love, right? Because like
It's that fucking dopamine.
that dopamine, man, kills you every time.
You
Kills
got to
you
be
every
mindful about it.
Oh, you do. And now when someone gives me a dopamine rush, I'm like, hold on, how toxic are you? You're making me feel this good.
Because I have other ways to get my dopamine. Thank you.
But in this weird fucking way, I'm really grateful for that situation because it propelled me into what has now the last year. That was exactly a year ago. The day before Mother's Day last year was when I met him. So it's been exactly a year. And I had this realization that like, bitch, you did this. Like, yeah, did he do these awful, horrible things?
Yeah,
to
yeah.
you? He
Yes,
did.
of course.
But
Yeah.
he did them because you allowed someone in your life you did not vet him. You did not make him earn your time, your energy, your love. You opened up to the first motherfucker who was like, hey, You're cool.
So there, it definitely has to do with the dopamine. It has to do with the black or white stuff, all in, or all or nothing. But I also think because we're so genuine, we can't fathom that other people aren't also genuine. Like it's not so much that we don't see the flags, but it's like, okay, but I got my shit too. Like I have like my demons, so everybody has their demons, and like you're trying to figure out, can the demons play? Can they dance?
Yeah.
Rather than like immediately saying, fuck, like, no, I'm not doing this. And I know I got one of my like zero tolerance things now is I give no benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I just don't do it anymore because every single time I've been shown that my original assumption was right.
It's the gut, right? Like what
Eh,
the gut tells you. And I think, and that's the thing, like that was my moment of like, are you going to tolerate bullshit anymore? What is your line in the sand?
Yeah.
And so the decision I made right after that, like my zero tolerance bullshit decision was really for myself. Like
Yeah.
we are no longer, so know if anyone in this podcast, it's so weird to say like it's such a public way, but like I haven't slept with anyone since then. So it's been like over a year because
I'm so fucking proud of you.
thank you.
No, serious. That's amazing.
You
Talk about reclaiming.
that was it. Like I had to reclaim the respect I had for my body first.
Yes.
And like
Yes.
this is a vessel, and like you're not, I'm not exchanging energy with someone until they've proved to me who they are.
That's what it is.
And once I took that piece out of it though, Melissa, like once I took, because let's face it, the biggest dopamine rush you're gonna get is when somebody's like looking deep in your eyes and, oh baby, 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 right? Like that is the dopamine.
Oh my
rush,
God.
right? Yeah. So the way that the only way that I knew all or nothing, I'm an all or nothing gal.
Yeah.
I knew the only way that I was going to start to make some serious change was you have to take that piece out of it so
Yeah.
that you can start to see people for who they are and not this imaginary life you've envisioned for yourself, the 72 hours after you met them because they told you all these wonderful things. Great.
Yeah.
It's wonderful that you told me all these wonderful things. And maybe you have the best intentions, but at the end of the day, you have to show me.
Yeah. Consistently and continually for a long time.
And no one has yet. But, and in that moment, like, I was down to my last $5,000 in my bank account. Like, so that happened. Like, one day after all this happened, I woke up and I looked and I realized I had 45 days left until I was bankrupt. I had just opened up myself to this horrendous human who brought me through the ringer in less than a month. Thank God I've got great friends who figured him out before I could figure him out.
Yes.
And I just wasn't living, I was sober, but I wasn't living like a healthy lifestyle. So I got deep into the trauma therapy real quick. I started hustling my ass off to make some money. I started working out every single day because that was like like we need control of something. So that's what we can control is moving our body.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a good 3 months there where I woke up every day with as if somebody was sitting on my chest and I couldn't breathe. I woke up every day with like, and I just remember that being like, it's probably one of the worst times of my life, even though I've had other things that have happened that have been horrible. That was the worst because I knew that I was responsible for it.
Well, and it was also your superpower awakening.
I started building those habits. I started not tolerating bullshit. I had zero tolerance for my own bullshit.
That's the fucking key right there. When you finally have zero tolerance for your own bullshit, that's when the change happens.
Yes. And I really started like it was ownership on, okay, what do I own? And I think like that's a big part of sobriety too, is like figuring out what, I never worked a program. People ask like, do I do AA?
Yeah.
It just was like never my jam.
Yeah.
But I've gone to some meetings and I think that what they go through there is like really amazing. But for me, it's been about owning what I own. And what I own is I have never had a line in the sand. I have tolerated all the bullshit. Bring me your bullshit. Let me put it in a box and wrap it up in pretty paper and put a bow on it because I just want to be loved, or I want to be liked, or I want to feel this feeling that you're giving me. I'm loving it so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you decide that like, okay, I'm going to stop my own bullshit train, that is the shift. That's the shift.
I fucking love it. I've had a similar path in some ways. I have not gone a full year without, but I did have like probably a good 6-month period of like I call it cocooning when I pull all my energy back from everything
Oh,
because I recognize that I'm being so easily distracted.
yeah.
And it's like a love-hate thing too with that, right? Because the world is so amazing. Like there are so many things that I want my energy in. But like you said earlier, it's easy to get sucked in. Like you know, you start like giving the energy and then it just like pulls it from you. So I definitely found that cocooning, I mean, like the only people I talked to were my kids and like whatever I did for work.
Well, and I think there's a part of like, when you think about like if you're on a healing journey and you're thinking about the what you're going to tolerate, right? Unfortunately, sometimes the people that fall off, sometimes it's friendships that you've had for decades.
Decades.
It's people in your life who you still love and have love for, but they just don't fit the narrative of where you're going.
And that's brutal.
It is. It
It's
is.
brutal.
And I think sometimes people will look at you like, oh, you think you're better than me? No, in no way, shape, or form.
Oh, there's no levels. It's not about
I'm just on a different path.
yeah.
And my path, if I continue to engage in the behavior that we've engaged in, I used to have
Mm,
friend groups that we'd get together and we just talk shit about other people. Like that was like kind of the jam, right? Like let's just talk shit about all the people that we don't understand or we don't like. And
right.
like it's just that's not my energy anymore. It's not my vibe. It's just not going to get me where I want to get. It's not going to get me where I want to be.
And then I don't know about you. I started to find that those things that I was doing when I wasn't um, honoring myself, now they started to become draining immediately. And now I can't even consider putting myself in that position. Like it immediately feels like a no.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not for me.
yeah. And you just sort of start to create a different bubble around yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, when you vibe higher, energy vampires, when they can't get their claws in you, you know, they sometimes have a lot to say about it. But I think you have to get really uncomfortable. You have to get really comfortable with not being liked when you're on your own journey.
You know what? Now I'm like, pop off.
I
Like, go
Well,
ahead.
what's funny though is the less I give a shit about what people think about me,
Yeah.
the more people like me, the more people are drawn to me.
Isn't it fucking crazy?
It's so weird. I'm like, yo, I tried my whole life to be liked and it never worked out. And now I'm like, you like me? You don't like me? Nah, we'll see. And I'm like, oh, everybody likes me now. Yeah, I mean, not everybody, but I think that
You don't even notice the people who don't. Like
no,
they don't even come in your energy anymore.
no, and I think it would be so silly to think there's like what 8 billion people in the world. Like someone fact check me. I don't know if it's 8 billion, something like that. But imagine if we tried to live our life so that 8 billion people liked us versus just
It's hard enough trying to live so your parents like you. Like,
nobody humbles me like my dad. I showed my dad a video I made the other day and I
yeah.
was like, Dad, I was like, did you see the video I made? And he goes, no, Con, I don't watch the videos you make ever since you do that crazy shit where you cry on camera. Oh my God, Dad. And I was just like, okay, Dad, thanks. Like, just nobody humbles me like my father. That's it. But, I think instead of worrying about 8 billion people liking you, we just want one person to like us.
Yeah.
And that's ourselves.
That's damn right.
It's ourselves. So have zero tolerance for bullshit, ladies and gentlemen.
Especially your own.
Your own bullshit. Stop that right there because your own bullshit will get you every time.
Yeah.